Barakatah Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushai, Bahashim, Rachakwadash, double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well, teach well with sincerity, honesty, and integrity. Brothers laboring in his truth, putting their life on the line, especially in these times. Salutations to you brothers and you brothers and sisters who believe in this truth wholeheartedly and sincerely. Shalom to the hopeful elect. This is for fair use, you know, not for
Now let's go to
monetary
Madeline
gain.
Rivera in
It's for
Washington on the
educational
shooting
purposes.
outside the White House yesterday. Maddie, what can you tell us?
Hi, good morning, guys. So this happened around 6 p.m. local time. So for those that don't know, that's usually around the time that correspondents at the White House are preparing for their evening live shots. So many of them actually heard the shots, and some of them scrambled to the ground for cover. The White House was placed on lockdown for nearly an hour. A Secret Service spokesperson says a person came to the checkpoint near 17th Street and Pennsylvania Avenue, and per their preliminary investigation, they say as the man walked up, he took a gun from his bag and began firing at officers. The Secret Service, they shot back and hit the suspect, who later died at a local hospital. Multiple sources now tell Fox News Digital the suspect was identified as 21-year-old Nazir Best from Maryland. Best allegedly had multiple run-ins with the Secret Service and had a history of mental health issues. He was reportedly detained by Secret Service on June 26 last year for flagging down agents and making threats, and again the next month for entering a restricted area. President Trump was at the White House when this happened, but he was not affected. The president later reacting onto social, saying this: "Thank you to our great Secret Service and law enforcement for the swift and professional action taken this evening against a gunman near the White House who had a violent history and possible obsession with our country's most cherished structure. The gunman is dead after an exchange of gunfire with Secret Service agents near the White House gates." This event is 1 month removed from the White House Correspondents' Dinner shooting and goes to show how important it is for all future presidents to get what will be the most safe and secure space of its kind ever built in Washington, D.C.
All right. Get a look at it. Because that's going to be your new face of the t-ism. All right? t-r-ism. You see? That's the new face. You had the event that happened in Texas. You had the event that just recently happened at the White House dinner. I think it was a dinner at some hotel. And then now you have this event right here. These individuals have a familiar look, as you can see, right? So-called black men, all right? And this is ultimately, you know, this is ultimately Esau Edom's way of ushering in the new t-r-ism in the face of it, so they can come after you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, but mainly starting with the prophets. You see? All right, but we're not ignorant to Satan's devices and his schemes and his traps. All right, because eventually you're going to see that they're going to link these people to the whole, what they will call the BHI movement, the Black Hebrew Israelites. And then you have leaders within Israel, so-called leaders, right? You know, now with the Genesis, formerly of Sakari, Deacon Akar, you got Nate, Bishop Nate, or General Nate, whatever he calls himself, from IUIC. And they mentioned those terms. I heard it say, come out their own mouth, Black Hebrew Israelites. And when you go into the Southern Law Poverty Center, if I'm not mistaken, that's what it's called, the Southern Law Poverty Center, whatever. They mentioned the BHI as a threatening movement. You go into the ADL. So these guys, you know, Project Megiddo, I think if you go into those, they point out how the BHI is a threat to society. All right, but all we do is read the scriptures and prophesy the downfall of America via Yahweh or Yahweh Shai. All right, and their enemies and their own allies even taking them down. All right, but we're waiting upon the Lord. You know, the Lord is gonna rise up to the prey. All right, we're consuming this place through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai with his word, right? That's what we're doing. We're breaking down the strongholds. We're spiritually circling the wall of Jericho, but physically taking it all in hands. They know that we're not, that's the true, sincere prophets and leaders are not going to do that, all right? But this is how they're going to put, don't be surprised they start using AI and you see yourself on the news, right? So this is what it is, and how they can use this, how and say we incite insurrection or sedition, right? But see, this is all what it comes down to, man. Matter of fact, you got this right here. Suspect dead after opening a fine at White House security checkpoint. Yeah. But that's the new face, all right? That's the new face of t-r-issm. All right, let me grab this. A lot of these things, whether they real or not, a lot of times they use that psychological operation, psyops, to further their agenda, all right? And that's why I said we're not ignorant to Satan's devices. The adversary's device, the physical counterpart of Satan, is Esau Edom, all right, the so-called white man, all right? But starting with the elite, the international banking families, the wicked, they calling the shots, all right? Revelation 12, Revelation 12 and 10, it reads, and I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, now is come salvation and strength and the kingdom of our power and the power of his Hamashiach. For the accuser of our brethren, right, is cast down, which accused them before our power day and night. And that's what they do. That's what this is, man. They're ultimately going to come down with a great wrath, come down with a great wrath, right? When you read, and they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony, and they loved not their lives unto death, right? Because we're doing this work and we're striving for this truth unto death, man. Lord willing, there's going to be those that don't taste death, but if we're willing to lose our life for this truth, we're going to gain our life in the kingdom to come, all right? And it reads, therefore rejoice ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them, right? Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. All right, so we know this man is going to come down with a great wrath against those that fear the Lord, right? When you go into the second Esdras, right, we'll go grab it. Second Esdras 16. In verse 68, it reads, for behold, the burning wrath of a great multitude is kindled over you, and they shall take away certain of you, and feed you, being idle with things offered unto idols. And they that consent unto them shall be had in derision and in reproach and trodden under foot, right? So we're not going to consent, all right? But here goes, for there shall be in every place and in the next cities a great insurrection upon those that fear the Lord. They shall be like madmen, right? Coming down with this great wrath, sparing none, but still spoiling and destroying those that fear the Lord. For they shall waste and take away their goods and cast them out of their houses. Then shall they be known who are my chosen, and they shall be tried as the gold, as the gold in the fire. You see? They're gonna be tried, all right? Hear, O ye my beloved, saith the Lord, behold, the days of trouble are at hand, but I will deliver you from the same. All right, be ye not afraid, neither doubt, for Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua is your guide, and the guide of them who keep my commandments and precepts, saith the Lord Yahweh. Let not your sins weigh you down, and let not your iniquities lift up themselves. All right, so we're not to worry. All right, going back into Revelation, right, 2 and 10. And it reads from Revelation 2:10, it says, fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer, because we're gonna go through, they're gonna come like a flood, coming as a flood, right? Their armies, their military, right? Fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil should cast some of you into prison, that ye may be tried. See, we talked about that in the second Esdras. That ye may be tried, and ye shall have tribulation, right? That trouble. 10 days. Be thou faithful unto death. You see? And I will give thee a crown of life. This is the Lord fighting for us. This is the Lord. This is our reasonable service. That sacrifice, man. It reads, he that have an ear, let him hear, right? What the Spirit saith unto the churches. He that overcometh, right? We just read it, should not be hurt on the second death, right? Because, ultimately, if you get beheaded, FEMA camps, and you die in the Lord, you are going to be risen with, Yahweh Shai, man. You're going to rise, and you're going to be risen first, man. So you will, it's going to be a beautiful thing, man. You're going to receive those new bodies, right? And America, Babylon is going to get destroyed, man. And Esau's hegemony is going to be destroyed, man. The king, Yahweh Shai, is coming to wipe tears off our face, man. So them continuing to trying to use this is only getting us closer to prophecy, man. We're seeing the groundwork being laid of them eventually coming down with that great wrath. So that's why we got to continue to watch and pray and be sober, right? Because the devil is like a roaring lion seeking whom he may devour, all right? Be vigilant, right? Be circumspect, all right? Those are the things. So that's why we can't get caught up with the affairs of this world, right? Because we got to endure hardness as a soldier and not be entangled with the affairs of this life, right? Because the evil, we're gonna be like as pilgrims upon the earth, man. You see, we got to make ourselves ready for the battle spiritually, and that's what we're doing now, and that's what we, through the Spirit and power, exhorting one another now, right? It says exhorting one another with these words, right? Because we're blowing that trumpet, giving warning, because these prophecies will come to pass, man. They will come down. We just read it with a great wrath, coming down like madmen, sparing none for those that fear the Lord, right? And they have to give you the face. They have to build up that, like how we're building up a case on Esau, Edom. They're gonna look to build a case on the men of the Lord, man. You see, but see, we're not frightened. We don't worry, because this is what happened back in the time of the book of Acts, right? When you go into what happened to Yahweh Shai, right? So it's our reasonable service. It's a rite of passage to lay down your life for your brother, right? And to die for this thing, man. Because these people, they will live for anything, but they dying for nothing. All right, we're gonna die for, if we was to lose our life, it will be for Yahweh Shai, man. Now remember, there's gonna be those that don't taste death, man. All right. So whatever your lot may be, just pray that the lot, your part of your lot is remaining faithful and enduring to the end, keeping His word, holding fast that which you have, and the Lord's gonna He's gonna take care of you all the way to the end. You gotta believe, you gotta have faith, right? You gotta be a visionary. You gotta see it. You gotta live. You gotta walk in it. You gotta, when you stumble, you get back up and keep fighting the good fight of faith, all right? Because it's going to happen. It's not something that we're just saying to make it lip service. This is a real thing. It's a serious business, and eventually, that's their goal. Esau, Edom has perpetual hatred for you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, man. Just look at your living, your lifestyle. Look how they do most of Jake, man. They in the hoods, the barrios, the revs, right? That's what they do to Jake, man. They give him the worst of the worst, the First one fired, last one hired. No, they'll, and what they do is they put up, they put these other leaders of Jake to continue to destroy you, man. Look at your music. Look at the music out there, man. It's all destruction. It's all death and destruction, man. You have, shaking their ass and twerking. You see? It's disgusting out here, man. Nothing but abominable man on man, women on women, all different types of genders, man. Pedophilia. Man, this world got to be destroyed. But in order for, let me end it on that. Right? So we can't fret. We understand this is part of the battle. All right. 2nd Ezra 6. Matter of fact. Let's get straight to the point. 2nd Ezra 6:27. It reads, "For evil shall be put out, and deceit shall be quenched." Matter of fact, now this is matter of fact, let me get that. That's a good one, because it will be put out. There you go. 2nd Ezra 4 and 2nd Ezra 4:28, it reads, "But as concerning the things whereof thou askest me, I will tell thee, for the evil is sown, but the destruction thereof is not yet come. If therefore that which is sown be not turned upside down, and if the place where the evil is sown pass not away, then cannot it come that is sown with good." All right, so we have to see this evil, this bad time, fulfill its lot, fulfill its destiny, fulfill its time, right? Because through set measures, right? Matter of fact, you go up, you go down, right? 2nd Ezra 4:37, "By measure hath he measured the times, and by number hath he numbered the times, and he doeth not move nor stir them until the said measure be fulfilled." So this said measure has to be fulfilled. Evil has to be fulfilled. His age, Esau, Edom's age, has to be fulfilled. And then when he's looking to complete and complete his enterprise, the Lord is going to come and knock the spoon out of his hand, man, the fork out of his hand, and have him throw up everything he has, man. He's gonna put a straight ass whooping on Esau, Edom. It's not going to even be an hour, man. It's gonna be a quick ass whooping, man. Right? It's gonna be a short time, an hour, right? It's like, right? So it's gonna be a short time, right? It's not gonna take long, right? But evil has to. The man has to finish his job, man. This is the Lord. He's the left hand of the Lord, man. All right, and he's fulfilling his duty, man. He's perfect when it comes to doing what he's meant to, when he was created to do, right? So that's why we got to do what we were created to do, and that's fear and serve the Lord, man. All right, and pray that the Lord have mercy upon us when these times come. Because that's all we're gonna have. Esau, Edom, his blessing was the sword. We can't get up and fight against Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. His blessing literally was the sword, was the weapons, man. This man have all types of drones, and this man has every fucking laser, DEW, direct energy weapons. This man has it all, man. He's you go back into the word Cain, that goes into the word dagger, and he comes in the spirit of Cain. All right. So yeah, man. So through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bashem Yahshua, I pray this was edifying. Again, don't be ignorant to Satan's devices. Continue to watch and pray, be sober, be vigilant.